Hello, 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 and welcome back to another episode of the most beautiful banknotes. This will be episode 11, and today we're talking about the Kazakhstani or the Kazakh 10,000 tenge from 2003. Quite a different banknote, but as always, before we actually start talking about the banknote itself, we're going to talk about the country. And Kazakhstan is, in fact, and very few people know this, it's the largest landlocked country in the world. And it's actually one of the top 15 or top 20 biggest countries in the world in terms of size. But of course, in terms of population or density, it's very scarce. There's not so many people living in Kazakhstan, also given the size of the country. Um, the country was it's relatively new as a independent entity. It was mostly inhabited all the way until the 13th, 14th century by nomads. So not a real organization in terms of constitution of a country. It was part of the Genghis Khan Empire of Mongolian Empire back in the 13th, 14th, 15th century. And then by the 17th, 18th century, it was annexed by Russia, Russian Empire, and of course, with the Russian Revolution of 1917 to 1921, the country became, as is well known, an autonomous republic within the Soviet Union, so the Kazakh Soviet Republic. Actually, Kazakhstan in itself only gained independence then with the fall of the Soviet Union, so in 1991. But it's very interesting that the Kazakhs as an ethnicity exists for a much longer period of time. And there were people or one ethnicity that was living around that area, and they were mostly nomads, as you can see here in the picture, their lifestyle. Um, so, as mentioned, they gained independence for the first time in 1991 when Nazarbayev, who was at the time the governor of the Soviet Republic of Kazakhstan, declared independence of the country and also became the president of the same country. And we'll talk about him a bit more later. The initial banknotes from Kazakhstan are not the nicest ones. So the first ones right after independence, but this series here in 1999 starts a flow of colorful series of banknotes that is a trend that still exists today. And actually, a Kazakh banknote received a lot of praise and a lot of awards, especially in the last 10 to 15 years. This 25,000 or the P25 or P25, the 10,000 tenge is a beautiful banknote that carries the colors of the flag of Kazakhstan. And on the front, although not being the most beautiful part, has something of a strange character. Basically, this guy you see there, and he's depicted in every single one of these banknotes of the series, is Abu Nasr al-Farabi, which was an Islamic prophet from the 9th century or 9th to 10th century, which, to be honest, it's not even known if he was born in Kazakhstan. There are many theories. One of them that he was born, or most of them that he was born in Afghanistan. Others say that he was born in nowadays Kazakhstan. What is known is that he died in Jordan, so very far away from Kazakhstan. He was an important philosopher for his time, an enlightened man, let's put it like this, and also a symbol of a country that is 70% Islamic to nowadays. And you can see on the right side a good representation of this, the natural resources of Kazakhstan um, that they have explored since the fall of the Soviet Union were enough to also to start building these huge mosques, uh, all brand new. And this one is in the capital that was previously called um, Astana, and now it's called Nur Sultan. Most beautiful part actually of the banknote is not so much the front, but the back. You see here in the back, this is a snow leopard, a snow leopard. And also here, it's a bit curious because the snow leopard does not really is not that common in Kazakhstan. It's a threatened species, and that lives only as high up or starting at high as high as 3,000 meters high, and 95 to 98% the population, the scarce population, actually resides either in Mongolia or in China. So this is also, although there would be a couple of those snow leopards in the country, it's also a relatively odd choice to put on the banknote, although a very beautiful vignette here. Cost of this banknote, it's getting expensive. I think this one is one of these banknotes that will get very expensive over time. Most catalogs see it as $170 to $150. You will be very hard to get this price nowadays for this banknote. It's getting at close to 200 at the moment, and even that is not so easy to find. Prices below the almost uncirculated are not so important as the banknote is relatively new, so there's still some availability of uncirculated banknotes. The specimen is not recorded with prices in all of the catalogs. It's then I found one that was sold for $820. It was a PMG rated one. It's also not that different. It's basically just has this stamp here, and of course the numerals there is AA and 000, but nothing really specific about this banknote in the specimen series. Good, and that was a bit about the banknote. So, what of Kazakhstan? Most people will actually know the country from watching the Borat movie. That's how Western world basically discovered a bit Kazakhstan, which is a nation that developed quite significantly, especially the capital, Nur Sultan, which became capital actually in 1997. It was previously called Astana, and the previous capital, Almaty, is actually the biggest city of Kazakhstan, which is many miles apart. Of course, Borat is not a good depiction of Kazakhstan, but some of the things are half truth, let's put it like this. Um, as I mentioned before, Nazarbayev was in power in 1991 when the country declared this independence, or he was the one declaring the independence. He just abdicated 2 years ago. So he was 28 years in power, and he abdicated to a proxy, a guy called Tokayev, who basically has the same kind of pattern for the country that has a lot of mineral resources and a lot of corruption issues also, which is still obscure and basically not really a democracy. Uh, Also, this whole new Kazakhstan that you see here in the picture is basically the capital and one or two cities. The rest of the country is basically as central Russia. It's poor. So it's an interesting country with some diversity, but not the place that you want to live your life with in. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next week.